What's up, Rush Nation? We're back, baby! We're still unscripted, uncensored, and unofficial. Sorry, it's been a while. I'm here. Jenner, our man, my dude. Play-by-play for the Rush. Jenner, how have you been?
Doing great. Again, outside of hey, it's like a busy training camp weekend and we're still doing home renos, so stress to hear, but lacrosse is back. All's good in the world.
That's good. I love to hear that it's back. It's training camp, what, day 1 yesterday?
Yeah.
Day 2 today?
Yeah.
And the boys are back for FanFest next weekend.
There's a lot of them, too. That's a lot of players out there to keep track of.
So not everybody's going to be happy leaving.
Yeah, no,
there's going to be
some tough conversations.
There's some spots to be made. Some people going to be sad trip home. But we still love you guys. You were in Montana. You were the GM of a Montana team. Tell me about it. How was that?
Yeah, that was fun. That was, again, helping out there. It's, again, it's a nice big title for someone who filled water bottles, basically. But no, it's, again, I don't know if you know Ryan Hanavan, who runs the sports barn in Brown Bear Lacrosse. He's doing so many cool things down there. So I got a couple other buddies from when I was playing hockey down there, and they pretty much just asked me to help out, and I'm game to help out however possible. So, being able to do that, help out, see some high-end lacrosse down there, I think it was just cool to see, the game's growing. That's, again, we talk about, the best things in the lacrosse world is seeing it truly grow from the ground up and just seeing what they're doing, where, they had 12 lacrosse players 5 years ago, and now there's hundreds, and they're filling the barn, they're watching senior lacrosse, the college kids are playing box against Canadians. There were so many cool things going on down there that, I'm just happy to see it grow.
So they're doing something right.
Yeah, again, I think they make it really accessible, right? Where there's free drop-in clinics for kids. There's I would say that their costs. I've heard rumors of some costs to play juniors and minor lacrosse here, and I would say that their costs are about a quarter of that. So and again, they're not going to all these fancy tournaments. They're doing some different things. I'm not saying straight dollar for dollar. This is the huge reason, but there is a lot of different things going on down there, but it all comes back to the people in charge, and guys like Ryan Hanavan, Tucker Sargent, who's running the Grizzlax team. There's Jimmy Pike Pierce. I should remember all the names. I can't off the fly. Bryce Fenwick. There's so many good people that are helping out and in charge at the top. Right? Exactly how it doesn't matter where you are. It's everything flows from the top down. If you're a sports team, it's the GM, the coach, the captains. It flows from the top down. Exact same thing goes with lacrosse. Whether it's a minor level, junior, college, senior, you can really tell. And then that's why I thought it was cool to get involved and help out.
It starts with sticks and hands, and They got sticks and hands, and now they got asses and seats. Not taking shots at anybody, but it's coming. Let's talk. It's been a while. We've had a long off season again, but we're back. We're back. Things are good. And we acquire Austin Shanks. And I was a big Shanks fan before he came here.
No, you weren't.
I like to talk to him.
Don't.
He used to come visit me lots.
Okay, yeah.
Not on purpose, but he came to visit. But yes, Austin Shanks. I think he's a great acquisition, though. To be honest.
He's the perfect fit, right? We talked about, what do you want? What is you close your eyes and what's the ideal Rush player, right? They're hardworking, they're in shape, they're willing to do whatever it takes to win.
All right, so I'm not on the team.
Well, hey, I think those are three intangibles that you don't get any leeway on. And so you bring in a Shanks who's coming off of a career year. He's going to play a great two-man game with Robert Church. We saw how he made guys like Randy Stotts and Clark Peterson that much better. They're gonna feel it with no Austin Shanks there, and so. But now Saskatchewan brings him in. Now you hope that elevates a Robert Church. So not that he can improve on what he did last year because he was unreal, but he can keep those numbers sustainable as he gets older. You've got Brock Haley, a young guy coming in with skill. Can you get him more time and space so that he can unleash some more shots? Mike Triolo, we saw at times what he can do. I just think that there's those little things that Shanks can do. And again, we kind of glaze over the fact that he was like a 60-plus assist guy, which is crazy. And so, again, anytime you can bring in an 80-point scorer who, I mean, I think it almost helps that he had a sour taste of the Rush in his mouth from 2018 when he was with Rochester and they lost.
Way she goes. Sorry, sucks to suck, but we're happy to have you now.
And like, I think that's good though. Like, he's seen what Rush Nation can be when the barn's buzzing, when the team's good. Like, Saskatchewan's a place, and like, hey, who cares? Whatever, like, some online lacrosse outlet says. Like, guys will tell you, like, hey, if Sask is good, I freaking want to be there. And I think that's obvious when you get a stud like Shanks.
Did you see the Lax magazine asking players? It appears that we aren't.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Let's talk about it.
I wasn't gonna name names. You bring it up, I'll just chime in because that's what I am. Okay, what do they serve right now? 100 players. You know, what do you think? 100, is that generous?
I would say generous.
That's okay. So maybe less. Let's say 75 then.
That's right.
So, and again, they're going top players, right? So it's either top players or, you know, whoever's doing the surveys from. So likely, what areas are they from?
Toronto
or Vancouver, right? Not rocket science here. I'm not breaking any news. That's where the best lacrosse players in the world are from. You think those answers make sense? Like, you know, Albany, not easy to get to. Sask, not easy to get to. Oh, everyone wants to play in Vancouver now. Kurt Malowski's an unbelievable coach. He's going to do great things with that organization. He already has. But people aren't just choosing to play there because of that. You can't drop that team in Winnipeg and say you're going to get the same 30%. It's just geography-based, and people look into that way too much.
Wow, I was reading it there, and, you know, it said, who's the biggest bitch? And I was surprised it wasn't Dobie.
That's a question.
And I'm like, who are they surveying that it wasn't Dobie? But
okay, and
what a question.
Yeah.
Like, I could understand this kind of budget ass shit doing that, but it's a fucking question you're asking professional. And they were told, be better. And that's one of my favorite sayings, be better.
Yeah, they really?
Well, I mean, maybe.
Okay, but like, here's my thing with Dobie, and I've had a long-standing history. Again, I actually don't mind the guy. I've had a lot of talks with him, but like, I've got no problem calling him out when he dives. But on the flip side, I think he takes more abuse than any of those 5 guys on the list. Because I know when defenders play him, he's getting greased a lot more than your average guy. And so that's why I say, I'm not saying he deserves to be let off the hook and like, but I think that there is some benefactor of like, who's just diving and complaining and who's actually taking those extra 2-3 hacks and whacks every shift. I think it's dope.
Yeah, and that could be.
But it was a hilarious comment. And I chuckled.
Yeah, I laughed. It was kind of like, what kind of budget shit is this? But here we are. We're not even asking those questions. And we're uncensored. Levi Anderson and Josh Zawada.
Oh.
How are we feeling about them? Day one training camp, you got to see them. I seen that you tweeted out a nice little swim there, and you took a check in the ribs. It's looking good. I don't know, man. There's a lot of hype on the kid, and I think that there's a reason for it.
Yeah, he's a first-round pick, right? He's, again, the fact that he fell in the draft, I think that there's a lot of different reasons or speculations out there. But, like, he's a two-way guy. Like, he can do that on offense in an ISO situation. I also saw him play defense on day 2 of camp, and, like, he was just as effective. Like, he's D'ing up top-end guys, and, like, if there's a turnover, I want Levi Anderson running in transition because that guy's going to bury.
Yeah.
So, like, as much as I want to see him be like, oh, okay, he's going to be a 30-goal guy right away, I would rather see him, like, do you remember Dane Smith, like, 2016, right? Like,
yeah.
Maybe even before that, maybe that was when they were playing Edmonton, too, of, like, he started playing defense, right? Yeah. But he'd get the ball, he'd go, he'd stay and play. Not afraid at all. Like, they've got Ian McKay there now, who does a very similar thing. I think that Levi Anderson has that potential. And it's almost a better way to get yourself into the league in a sense of, like, if you understand the D systems for a year or two, I think he's going to become a more effective forward. And I think he's just got all the build, all the athleticism. Once he understands the systems, how to play with certain players, he's going to be real good. Not that he's not going to be good this year. Like, he's something to watch, but he brings that size. We talked about it last year. I know we did. We talked about, I want to see this Rush team add more size, add more grit. Levi Anderson.
You said last year, watch for this kid. And we watched, and look at him go.
Yeah. Zawada looks good too, but Zawada hasn't played boxing longer, right? So, like, it's been, I want to say 2018, 2019. Like, we're talking 5 years since he's played box, but he was so good at Duke. Like, just a dominant field lacrosse player. He played PLL. He's an athlete, like, intelligent guy. I think he's going to transition here and become a very serviceable player. But, like, we also talked about, you have to upgrade everywhere if you want this team to go from the same old 8 and 10 to being better. And that's I don't care if it's practice roster players. You need to upgrade everything. And that's why, like, I want a more competitive practice roster. I want more competitive depth. Josh Zawada is that type of guy who's going to push the limits, and he's going to make everyone better. So I think that's a guy you probably see stick around just for that reason.
That's true. I like it.
I want more full-time lacrosse players, right? Like we talk about, I hate watching the PLL. I haven't watched a full PLL game in years, but like you can tell I've seen Holden Garland's game improve. Levi Anderson, you're going to see him improve. Like there's guys like that who the more they have a stick in their hands, and don't get me wrong, summer ball is fine and fun, whatever. Six Nations is going to keep winning in Victoria until they run out of money. It's a stupid setup. But like I just want to see more athletes on this Rush team because that's what's going to help them push the pace. They're a fast team. They're one of the fastest teams in the league. But if you continue to grow on that, now you're a team that's tough to stop on a nightly basis.
I seen Quinlan. He made a comment in his most recent interview there that sometimes it gets a little too fast, but gotta slow him down, bring him in. He said, it's easier to do that than to kick the horse. And it's probably right. I mean, it makes sense.
And again, there's some things you can't teach, and that's size, right? And Anderson and Zawada both have size. Like, Zawada's wider than people think. He's not tall by any means, but, like, he's not getting pushed around out there. Anderson's a freak. He's huge. Like, this guy's got this swim move, and, like, everyone saw it in the summer, and, like, it's disgusting. He's got that potential. But that's one aspect of the game, right? I think guys, it even takes players a while to develop into their own, right? Like, you can specialize in one thing, but that doesn't mean you're a complete offensive player.
What? Warm up is time to go! Who's
The battle for the backup. We know Shiliano's going to be our go-to for this season at least.
Yeah.
And, whether or not he ends up missing some time due to some struggling or whatever, who's the guy that comes in and backs him up, do you think? In your opinion? Because I know both Kazak and Rushka, very deserving, both of them. But who do you see personally, impersonally? How do I word that question right?
I get exactly what you're trying to say, and this isn't deferring because I'll give you a firm answer after. But I want both of them to have a shot to showcase themselves again. I feel like in training camp last year, it was very clear Lane was better than Thomas. Lane Rushko is better than Thomas Kazak in the preseason. I don't think anyone would be arguing that. But then, come season time, Lane struggles a bit. Kazak keeps getting better. Kazak's confidence grows. He's a young kid, right? Like, this is, young guys, I think they're going to take a while to develop, but you could see that shift. And then coming into camp, I think you could almost see it not sway back, but like, Kazak's been taking shots from junior players all summer. Like, I'm not saying that
he's a little guy. He looks. There's a lot of net to score on with him as compared to other goal. He looks skinny out there.
He wears smaller gear. He's certainly not.
But he makes himself big somehow. Like he takes those spots. I think that's part of his game plan and his tricks is Look here, you can shoot on me, you can shoot where you want, and he takes it away real quick before you can even think about it again.
Yeah, Lane's a better blocker. Isaac's a better, lateral movement goaltender. I think they each do their own things well. I think where Thomas is going to have to get dialed in here is that if he can have, a strong showcase game at FanFest, if he can have a strong half or two in Toronto in those preseason games, the backup spot should be his if you're going off of last year, right? But if all of a sudden he falters, I don't hate the idea of having a Lane Rushka backing up where it's like, hey, but you got to earn it. Like you got to head down, work your ass off, earn it, because I saw Thomas Isaac day one at camp, and this guy's putting on weight, and he's shredded. Like, he's getting stronger, faster. Frick, I don't even know if he's 20 yet. Right?
I just want to say, if you want help putting on weight, I'm your man. Let me know.
Yeah, no, and again, I think there's a lot of smarter people in the lacrosse world than me, and I was talking about this, with some experts in the lacrosse goalie community. We should look at the last 10 goalies who have won championships. Okay, Matt Vince,
over and over.
Guy has, just absolutely chiseled. Dylan Ward, full-time lacrosse player. Great shape, great conditioning. Christian Del Bianco.
Yeah.
Great guy, though.
Enjoy sitting.
Yeah, he ain't playing this year. But, no, again, good conditioning, super fast. Evan Kirk, guy.
Kirky.
Guy was an absolute weapon. Mike Poulin. Poulin was just again, he's still in good shape. He's backing up in San Diego. He came out of retirement. Again, another workhorse. Yeah, he came out last year. But, again, another workhorse. Aaron Bull, fitness freak, right? And then you go back to the Vince stays in Roch, I think, if I'm going back in my memory bank. The last 10 years of goalies to win championships have been of a certain build. I'm not saying that's
not a Nick Rose.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's how I'm taking.
Sorry, I'm taking a shot at Toronto because I'm still not happy with Mark.
But no, and I'm not saying that's the only reason they won is because their goaltenders are in good shape. But there comes at some point where you're like, hey, it ain't just luck of the draw anymore. Your goalie needs to be this physical specimen who can play week after week and can continue to get better as the season goes along. You can't see him on a decline as the season goes along.
That's fair enough. Right?
So, long answer short, I think it should be Isaac's spot to lose.
Well, time will tell. And it's coming real quick. Season ends at the end of this month? I think.
Season starts November 30th.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Good old Albany, game number 1.
Yeah. Halifax at home this year, game number 1 at home.
Yeah.
We can embarrass them here like they embarrassed us there last year. Feed them shitty food. Give them food poisoning.
That's a trip that not anyone's gonna.
I'm not saying they're gonna get food poisoning, and if they do, I didn't fucking touch their food. Get over it.
It'll be fun though. Shanks versus his old team. I think that, and again, I've said it for a while. It felt like a forced rivalry, but. I don't tip my hat to the league that often, but they've kind of made it a rivalry now. These guys hate each other. They don't want to play if you don't think guys are licking their chops to get a shot at Tyson Bell and Halifax wants a piece of Robert Church and Zach Mans, there's actual bad blood between these two teams. And hey, tip your hat to give Sask that home opener against Halifax.
I love
bit
it.
of a revenge game. Perfect. Check mark that one.
Yeah, it's kind of. Let's hope that we have Rush Nation and, to be that extra, that added extra. We like to make things more difficult. I don't know who's actually down by the box this year. I gave up that seat, but.
Oh, wow. You got some new seats then.
I got some new seats.
Is this breaking news?
No.
Okay, well, that's breaking news for me. Yeah, Phillies just keep me out of the loop. I get it.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I'll be there. I got seats with the whole family. I still ended up with the boys, too. So.
Have you ever thought about sitting behind the net? Right behind the goalie? Is that a good seat? I think that's a good seat in my mind for lacrosse, where it's like, those seats like right behind the net. It's elevated. Is it too loud, or like it gives I don't know. Again, I don't watch games from there. You would know. I feel like that's like a prime seat, though.
It seems like it would be. I know a friend of mine, Mark, that's where him and his friends have their seasons, and they say it's wild. So
yeah, like I think that would be cool. Like I want to sit closer to the action. Again, I liked watching in the middle too and stuff like that. And that's where my parents have their seasons. But like, I think the closer you can get, you realize like how big these guys are.
Well, that's going to be the weird thing, is that we're not going to see that perspective of, how big these and fast and hard it is. But now I get to see the whole rink.
Yeah, but like you've seen them. Like I think like for you understand what's on the floor. I'm talking like for like a new fan, if you're to bring them and be like, here's what lacrosse is, like I don't think it's a cool sit.
Well, see, they moved us back. They took our seats, told us no more fold-out chairs. I'm not saying it was a good idea. But, so that was the decision they made. And bringing people to games, that's a big draw, to be able to sit right against that glass. People hate glass bangers. Don't be banging. Shut up. Banging on the glass and them banging back and yipping at people. It's part of the fun.
People talk about that too, and what's hilarious is like in my previous life as a junior hockey goaltender, when we were in Great Falls, Montana, they had behind is the nets, the beer garden there, and it's all standing room only, and they gave them all hockey pucks. So beer in one hand, hockey puck in there. They're hammering on the glass. Like, you know how annoying that is? But like all game, you've got 75 people wrapped around hockey puck to glass, and it's just like, that's what I think of when you say glass banger.
Well, it adds a different, like it gives you.
That guy in Dallas is egregious though, with the bang sign. You know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Oh, you got to Google it.
We're obviously not talking Fort Worth, because no one up against that glass.
Couldn't see him there. It's the Dallas Stars guy. I think he calls himself the glass banger. It's terrible. And like, because they've got the mics above now, right? Like that's right.
Oh yeah.
The mics are there, and this guy's just hammering on it. It's just like tape him to the chair.
Well, it's a good thing they never had mics down by us before, so.
No, I think we should. I would love to see some fans mic'd up. I bet you I'll pitch it now. Like, let's.
I don't know, man. We had fans mic'd up, and our schedule release there.
There's a couple bleeps coming up.
Sorry, I had to get that shot.
Yeah. Where's like the perfect spot to put a mic on the floor? Is it the penalty box?
The penalty box, because the fans behind it are just as rowdy as shit.
But what about like the photographer box and like the floor reporter box? Like, is that better between the benches or in the penalty box?
See,
which one's better?
I think that you are onto something there, but when Fetchy was down there, he did a little clip with, an engagement between Kirky and Del Bianco, and I don't think it was appreciated by some people. So,
do you remember last year when Delbs and Skiggs were going at it? That second half of the back-to-back, they were just going at each other. And then working together Monday morning. But, I love that stuff. I want to hear what they say.
Oh, exactly. Like, how do you get under that, to get under your best friend's skin almost? Like, that badly that he's like, I'll punch you in the mouth.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's the best part about sports.
But now he can sit there, Delbs can sit up in his box and he can chirp whoever the hell he wants.
Do you think he plays this year?
No, I think he sits out. And how do I feel about that? I feel, no one even asked me, but I'm going to tell you. I feel that, it's hard to say that it's not the right move. You got to see that these guys are making not minimal money, but not enough to be up and, you got to really want to be willing and leaving your family.
I don't know
and
if
everything.
they're hurting that much.
But
I think some guys, like a Delbs, the money excuse ain't flying by me, Pillar.
No? Well, see, then there's maybe that. So, do you think he sits out? Do you think he's forced Calgary to trade him? Because, no matter what happens, he said he wants to go Vancouver or hang out with his rich uncle in San Diego. But, it's most likely Vancouver. When you phone up Milwaukee and you go, hey, Delbs we're looking to trade him. Your hand's being forced. And then he goes out and makes it public and says, hey, yeah, I'm sitting out, or I'm being traded to Vancouver to go play with my favorite uncle brother that's coaching, or my rich uncle in San Diego. So what do you do?
So what happens if Vancouver gets off to a good start? And like Aiden Walsh can develop into like a decent starter. Like all of a sudden Vancouver goes like, can we get by without him? Like, can we, like, is O'Toole, like, they got some good young goalies there. So are they like, well, what if one of these guys pans out? Like, do we need to be giving up 3 first-round picks and 2 prospects for Del Bianco? Listen, I'm not saying he's not worth that. I think, if you get the opportunity to acquire a goalie like that, you'd probably bend over and more, but, like, I don't know. Again, it's kind of like the Jeremy Swayman in Boston. It's like, is he going to hang out? What if Korpisalo is good? You just never know.
Nah, Korpisalo's no good. Being a Sens fan, I can tell you Korpisalo's no good. Thanks for all, Mark.
But again, it's a bit of a risky game, is it not? Like, You want to go to San Diego, they got Chris Arriglieri. Like, they don't have any need to go out of their way to make some huge trade happen. You look at a Vancouver, they got 2 very serviceable young netminders in Walsh and O'Toole. I don't know. I'm just not sold that this is not going to happen. When it's going to happen, maybe.
I hope he sits out because he's too damn good. And if he does come back, I hope it's after Saskatchewan faces him. So,
don't we face him late in the year?
Yeah. So
I think there's like a deadline. I don't think he can just come back for the playoffs. It's not the Man Cup here.
Nice. I like that.
I got to get one shot. Come on.
Hey, and we're going to have Sean Williams on too to be like,
I was waiting for you to say Sean Evans there. I was like,
I'm not having Sean Evans anywhere.
I was about to step aside and give him my chair.
He's friends with Schatz, and he can stay friends with Schatz, but he's not my buddy. What else do I got on the agenda here? See, things are just rolling. See, we're fun. Oh, fuck. We got my boy. I've been begging for this guy back. And I had no influence in it, obviously. Nobody fucking listens to anything I say. But we got Haas back, and I am fucking fired up to have Haas back.
He looks good.
He is a great dude. A great defensive leader. There was a reason they gave him captaincy in that little shithole that just folded. And, it's so good to have him back.
Yeah, it's, again, like, he's a leader, right? Like, that's the biggest thing. He's not this, like, rah-rah guy. Like, you know him, too. Like, he's not a guy who's going to go out of his way to yell and scream. He's not going to do anything super flashy, but he's just consistent. Like, he's out there weekend 1 of training camp, and him and Ryan are leading the way, right? Like, it's basically like you've got 2 captains, and you got one up front and one on the back gate, right? Like, it's perfect. I think at times the defense was missing that leadership. Not like Holden Garland isn't that guy, because I feel like Garland is much more of like a smart X's and O's. If you've ever talked to him, he's like...
I haven't.
Okay, well, if you see him, there's like a viral clip. It was when we were playing Calgary, I think, in Calgary. He, like, grabs the clipboard off the bench, and he just starts drawing stuff, and you're like, should he be in a suit coaching this? And, like, again, he's just really smart with the X's and O's there. And then Hossack's just a lead by example, right? Like, you won't see him get down. He's not going to be slamming his stick on the bench. He's going to be able to D up the best players in the league. So, like, you just add that depth. It makes your team so much better. Yeah, I mean, we were around. We saw what he did as a youngster in this team. He is a special player.
We really took, having Corbs and Rubes and Haas and, like, we took that for granted so badly.
I think there's a few more names.
I know, but I just we don't even have that kind of time. But we took it so much for granted, especially just on that back end alone. Like, it's unbelievable that you look back at those rosters we were winning with, and I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for what we do have and where we are headed. I think last year. I made the bold prediction, 3 losses. Everyone's like, Travis, you're out of your fucking mind. And it turns out they were right. I was wrong. Whatever. But this year, I'm not going to say 3 losses because But I think that we're going to be closer to that number than we were last year.
Well, and you talk about like the rebuild and how like, oh, maybe we didn't take, you took it for granted, whatever. I think that's, and again, like I see all the stuff as well. I get all the comments, the people being like, the past 3 years have been atrocious. Like, this is a train wreck, Janner. How can you still pump up this team? People don't realize that like before 2015 in Edmonton, like, that team was a bit of a dumpster fire for like 10 years. Yes, they went on some runs. They had some good years and stuff, but like they had to suffer through some serious shit just to get to like a championship. And again, hey, the Rush, you know, you bring in a team like that, never apologize for wins. But like, as you said, this team just needed a change. You can't just be 8-10 forever. You got to flip the switch eventually, and they have. They've turned over a lot of that roster and brought in guys who, over the next 5-10 years, I think they should have multiple rings, right? If they perform well, they should.
There's so many good lacrosse players right now. So I would love to say yes, but let's see what happens with more of these expansion drafts and where we lose. And everybody wants to go play for Kurt Malosky and their rich uncle in San Diego. And we'll see what happens. But I am feeling good. I do feel good. I feel that we are trending in the right direction. And it is a nice, refreshing look to have. Because it these last few years kind of have sucked. But they haven't been terrible. I mean, you've seen the progress slowly.
Yeah.
In Keenan, we trust. I always say it. In Keenan, we trust. And I was like, do we trust in Keenan? You know, there was a point where I'm like, come on, we need to do something. And I'm sorry. You're right, I'm wrong. I'll just sit here. But
again, I think that's like part of like, you know, being a sports fan, working in sports. It's like, you're allowed to question things. You're allowed to, you know, question a starting goalie, coach, forward. Like, if you're not asking those questions, that's when the issue comes in. Like when we had that close game with Buffalo in, was it March? Whenever we were in Buffalo, like Bandits fans,
back and forth.
Yeah, Bandits fans were talking about like trade Vince, like our Smith and Byrne washed. Like, again, I think it's a little extreme, but like I think that's all part of, you know, being in the sports world. It's like you can question those things because unless you're lifting a trophy at the end of the year, you want something to change, right?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think that's
we just want
realistic.
another banner. We you know,
Absolutely.
we should hang yours up there.
What if you get like a green banner? Like, do you think the 3 banners are black?
Yeah.
Do you go with a green banner now?
Ooh, a lime green banner?
Like change it up? That'd kind of be badass.
Yeah.
Who else has lime green banners?
Shamrocks?
Yeah, maybe Vic's got some.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it would.
They don't have a cool green though. It's shamrock green.
That's true.
Sounds cool.
So what is your outlook? Like, what can we expect to see with, you know, from what you're seeing in training camp? I mean, we're only one day in, so it is what it is, but we know the potential. You know more than I the potential of these guys and their ceiling and kind of where you see them at. So what is a realistic outlook as a fan or, you know, hopefully soon to be fan or somebody that's filling an ass in a seat? What can we expect or hope to expect? Like, I mean, obviously, hopefully we win, but like, what are we going to be a more physical team? Are we going to be fast and physical? Are we going to be in your face gritty? What are the Rush?
See, you left off the one word I've said I want to see this team have more of, and that's consistency. I did not like how inconsistent they were last year. And I think once you find that consistency, that's when you become a dangerous team. When night in, night out, the opponent knows what they're getting. And I think by the way that they reshaped this roster in the offseason out of Shanks, Hasek, Haley, Anderson, this team has a lot less excuses. I say no excuses, but like, you've got your roster there. You are built to be in the playoffs. You are built to win a round. That's the standard. as far as I'm concerned.
So it's go time.
Yeah, there's no more wait and see. Maybe we'll develop more. Now you got guys in years 3 and 4 of their development stage. Time to start winning. You know, if you want to get paid, if you want to be one of the big boys, if you want to hang in the high rollers club, start winning meaningful games. And that's not just getting to playoffs, being like, oh, we were the lucky 8 and 10 team that got in. No, you better be over 500. You better be consistent night in, night out, and you got to be hard to play against.
So if we do hit, say, halfway in the season, I think a big part of it is going to be that we have a good schedule for once. We don't have a week and then we're off for 3 and then we're back for 1 and we're off for a month. And that last schedule was horrendous. So I think that that's going to help. I think that, you know, how are you supposed to make anything work when you got a schedule like that? We don't have that this year. We actually have a decent schedule. Yeah, hopefully, like, it's... Fuck, where did I go? Just completely lost my train of thought there.
Now you know how I feel every weekend.
Yeah, and you're live.
I had something great to say, guys. I promise. And Fraser's smacking me on the head, being like, "Get it together."
John's back.
Yes,
He is back.
he is back.
With all his hot takes and I don't know, John. I think we got to have a conversation.
You got to get him on here.
We
Why has
do.
he not been on here?
I don't know.
That's-
He is too busy making those special hot dogs and promo commercials and fighting with Ballsy and fuck, I don't know.
Oh, what a guy. What a guy. Great, just a great human being.
He is a good dude. You guys have the pregame and stuff again?
I think they're switching it up a bit for this year. I don't have the official, like, post game on the turf was huge. That was awesome. I think that was the one where I'm pushing for, like, we had awesome fun.
We're doing this again.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of putting my foot down. I'm like, hey, we're making this happen. But yeah, we're gonna do road games again. And then I think the home, I know the post game on the turf is back because that was a big one. And then I think pre-game's kind of...
We'll see what happens.
Unfortunately, they don't let me sign the papers, but
As long as they pay you the money.
hey, still here.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I love how last year, right?
Look, okay, again, and I know I gotta run here right away, but like we've just been throwing softballs at each other. I need the Pilly way of like, okay, I got one change in mind, and I want to hear yours.
Okay.
How do you fix lacrosse at the non-professional level in this province? If you can make one change, what is that?
You loosen the reins of the SLA.
But like, okay, and again,
What's the question?
No. This is more so me being like, Kate, don't be. And again, I'm great at just putting a paintbrush and being generic, right? Like, give me something. What are you doing? What's that one move that Pilly's doing? Because I know you're in the minor lacrosse world too. I see it as well. I'm curious, is like, what would you do?
I want to see more growth of the game, as we all do. I want to see the more sticks in hands. I want to see field stop fighting with box. I am so sick of that. Schedules conflicting, and we only draw to this age group, and it's too much of one person looking out for one person and their kid. Cut the shit. Let's just fucking focus on lacrosse. Let's get back to the basics. I think that, I know you want specifics and...
Well, no, you brought up the field and box. I think that's good. I think that's an issue that, like, most people probably don't know about, right? And so it doesn't get talked about. Again, I'm not in that world. I've got the outline, the black and whites of like, hey, here's what's happening. But like, if you don't talk about it, if I don't talk about it, if other people aren't talking about it, it just becomes this behind the curtains issue. And I think until you pull those curtains back, then they can actually change, right? That's why I think it's cool when you're, being vocal about it. Like, I think to always have a plan, though. I don't like people who just like talk shit, for lack of a better term, and don't have a plan. So that's where, again, I think, yeah, absolutely. If field and box can't get along, how do you expect everyone else to?
Well, I know that the rest of not the rest of the province, you look at PA, and I hate giving PA props for anything, but I do love the lacrosse program they have there. They do everything so well. You look at their social media game, they are very on top of everything. They've got video review, they show their sponsors, they make their games available, they got this. Kids love playing there. I know kids that, are from Saskatoon that want to play in Prince Albert. Nobody wants to play in Prince Albert for anything, no offense. But I mean, obviously it speaks terms to how good of a game and program you have there. They got great camps set up. I think that we need to get back to the basics of getting sticks in hands. Our numbers here in Saskatoon are not good. And people probably won't like me saying this, but I really don't give a shit. We don't want to compete with football and hockey. It's not a matter of, we can't, we don't want to step on their toes is what it comes down to. It's, we can't compete with them. Have you tried? I mean, I know a lot of hockey playing kids that like lacrosse. I mean, yeah, you're not going to necessarily draw them away or whatever, but maybe you can draw them in for a season. Maybe you can pick them for, maybe we can find not everything needs to be about hockey and football in Saskatoon and area. Drive the lacrosse game. Stop tiptoeing around the shit. Market to these kids. Market to, I don't know. I think that you start there.
That's what I want. That's why I came here, Pilly. I like hearing people's opinions, everyone's opinions, because you and I, we're not sitting on the SLA board. We're not, sitting with any organization that, in the minor levels at least, where it's they have to do this, they have to follow that. I see what Lucas Wells and the PA Preds are doing. I'm drawing a blank on the guy in Swift, but the Wolverines have an awesome program there. They're filling their butt. Is it Westner?
I think it's Westner.
Okay, well, yeah, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. But again, there's certain clubs doing really freaking cool things in this province, and I want to see that grow, and I don't know how that grows under the curtain, the certain circumstances they're on. I want to see it explored of, what would happen if the PGLL teams would go independent? What would happen if junior and senior lacrosse said, hey, I don't need to compete for the President's Cup. I want to run a, successful senior league that's more sustainable. Whether it's the junior team saying, hey, McDonald Cup is cool, going to the Founders Cup is cool, but we can do better for developing lacrosse at home if our money's spent in Saskatchewan, right? It costs teams a ton to go to those national tournaments and stuff. And I don't have a number. Someone could text Wells and ask how much Mac Cup cost or Founders Cup. That's we're talking probably 50, 75,000, if not more.
Pricey.
Again, when you package everything, spend it in Saskatchewan, grow it in Saskatchewan, run those teams like a private business. I think, as you said, the PA Predators, why couldn't, if they're run like a business, hey, all of a sudden now they can open it up. Kids come try lacrosse for free, right? We've seen it with Brown Bear Lacrosse in Missoula, getting people there, right? Getting families involved. Hey, come to this, clinic. Hey, here's a trial lacrosse clinic. It's going to cost you $20, but you also get a ticket to Friday night's game, right? I think that they open those opportunities. I went up to PA this year. Stands are packed. Went to Swift Current. They're playing Weyburn or something. I'm unreal. Weyburn's got a team for one, but because when I was playing lacrosse, when I was a kid, I think we had probably 2 kids within 100 kilometers of me that knew what a lacrosse stick was. But again, packed house.
Yep.
That's awesome. I want to
Swift
see
is
them
rocking.
I want to see them grow on that though, and I just think that if there was a different ecosystem where maybe that coach becomes SJHL coaches are full time, but in the summer they're selling corporate packages, sponsorship, they're doing other things, they're running clinics. I wonder if you take that approach of, and again, it's probably not privatization, that's the right word, but having them become their own entity. If you run the PA Predators like the North Battleford Stars, I think that program becomes more successful. I think it grows. I think the players benefit. I think the community benefits. There's other things you got to figure out, whether it's affiliating players up, whether it's the senior ranks of where they go after that. But I think at the junior levels, they're doing some damn good things there.
I think that, in the transition of this page, too, we're going from strictly Rush to more of...
Yeah, sorry, that's on me for just completely steering away.
No, but we are going to, to speak on Sask Lacrosse and what can we do, because like you said, anyone can talk shit, but how do we fix it? And that's ultimately what I want to do is I want these kids to get the best opportunity. I want them to have more opportunities and fun. And what draws people to want to play? What makes this successful? Where do we start? Where do we finish? How do we get there? I don't have all the answers. I do have a lot of opinions, which, like it or not, you get to hear. But yeah, I don't know. We will look at a lot of different things, a lot of different opinions. But I hope that we can start seeing a growth in the game because, like you said, we have pockets. We have Weyburn and we have Swift. And there's little pockets around Saskatchewan that are absolutely killing it. And for a big-ass city like Saskatoon that likes to think and compare themselves to Edmonton and that they're this big city and we can't have numbers in lacrosse, there's something wrong. I don't care who you are. There's something wrong there. So what is it? Let's figure it out.
As long as you're asking the questions, that's good, right? That's what I want. It's just people asking it. And I think once you just decide, like, hey, it's my way or the highway, or I've got the best idea in the world, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I think that's when you run into issues. But, hey, I want to see SLA provide the best opportunities. I'm a big proponent of all lacrosse. You know that. So I don't care if it's the CLL. I want to see their tournaments be successful and kids benefit from that. I don't care if it's the Montana stuff where I want to see them, put on the best opportunities, running great camps. I want to see the SLA see minor lacrosse numbers flourish because everyone's doing things the right way. I want to see the PGLL grow. I think that if you actually want to see all those things be successful, you find a way to work together. And it's not so much, hey, if you put on this jersey, you're done playing lacrosse for 2 years. It's not there's just right ways and wrong ways. And we got to find the perfect solution.
Well, there's got to be the love for the game above all.
Yeah.
It's got to be the game. If you're not in it for just the game itself and you're in it for your own personal gain or your own whatever agendas or feeling of power or whatever, I think that we have problems, but we'll see. I've heard a lot of things. I heard changes are coming. We'll see. The hell? I was actually going to say something. Oh. Until we see a lacrosse net. Until I'm driving down the street and I see a kid have to pull his lacrosse net across the road so I can get my truck past, I probably won't stop bitching about how we can grow this because I want it to be just like that, right? The simple things are just having fun. I mean, maybe we're not ripping rubber balls down the road, but, or you go to your local outdoor rink in summer and you see some kids tossing the ball around. That will make me feel much better in the fact that the game is growing and progressing. I love this game. I haven't even been a player and I feel this game has given me so much. And my boy, he loves it. I have a lot of friends who their kids love it. Obviously, there is a reason that we speak on it, and it isn't because I want my boy to be successful. I don't care if he takes up something else, whatever. If he likes it, he likes it. But for me, I want to see the game grow and continue to grow and continue to stay in Saskatchewan. I literally worry if we're hurting in this Saskatoon pocket professionally in a minor way and, in a minor leagues way, junior levels and stuff, are we going to lose the Rush? I don't know that it's push panic mode yet, but I think that it's a question that is a legitimate, reasonable question.
Yeah, it's again. Okay, no, I'm not saying it's not a reasonable question. I think to flip the other card over though is that if you own a National Lacrosse League team, you're doing it because you truly have some passion for it, right? I don't think there's many greedy owners in this game who are making a lot of money. Like there's tough times. It would be so easy for 5, 6, 7 teams to do what Panther City did and just pull the plug because times are tough. I don't think that there's a lot of that. I don't know the right word, fluency. What am I thinking of? Where it's like, hey, I don't think that pendulum sways of like, should we fold? Should we move? What are we doing? Like, I think it's pretty consistent of like, if you're in the NLL, you are in it because you believe Brett Freud, the league, can take it to that next level.
Oh boy.
And I think, I know that's a whole other can of worms. We don't have time for a second episode here. We can dive into it eventually. But again, I think that you got to see that cohesion though too. You want to see, the Rush working with minor lacrosse working with the Rush better. Like, I think you want to see everyone actually striving for better, right? And that's why I say it's like I don't think that we're not truly striving for better, but like, is the lacrosse world, especially the summer ball world, spending their dimes and dollars where they should be? Because again, I've been a long proponent of nationals don't matter, and that's kind of people hate that, right? People like the lacrosse purists are like, you're an idiot, Janner. I just
no one's calling you an idiot.
Oh, there is.
Come on.
Shut up. You've got
Maybe
social
Fraser.
media. You see enough people on there, but like again, does it matter that much to lift a trophy that's worth setting lacrosse back for, or could your money be better spent elsewhere? I think, again, that sounded very politician-like to me, and I hated that. But, like, you get the point.
Yeah.
Of I want to see money and dollars invested back into lacrosse in Saskatchewan versus a group of 20 people leaving the province to play a tournament that I don't see benefit in.
Yeah, no, I just think...
And I'm not a player. Hey, if they see the benefit in it, freaking rights, fill your boots. I'll step aside. But I want to see it as a whole.
Yes, and that's what I meant more so is, like, if we lose the love for lacrosse, then we lose. I mean, how do you, if all of a sudden the love for lacrosse is gone and it's just not here, I mean, it's inevitable that your professional team's not going to make it. Yeah. And I'm no rich person. I don't have a damn dollar to my name, so if you want to start a GoFundMe, feel free. No, I'm just kidding. But... where the hell was I going? Real good. You're only going to put money into something for so long before you say, we got to move on. You only lose money for so long, and if the love for lacrosse is gone, you're not going to keep pumping money into it. So keep the game growing. Keep... fit and have fun. Fuck, I don't know.
Well, I would just say strive for better. Strive for better. That's the very certain, like that's the last thing, or like the least amount you can do is if you don't want to see the game keep growing, you're probably, we probably don't want you here.
Exactly. I know that you have other commitments.
I do got to run here.
Training camp.
Hey, it's almost like
but that's
you could invite me back for a second episode.
I don't see a problem with it. And
we better get John on here too. John's he's such a good talker. Like that guy, you can just give him a softball and he'd probably fill 30 minutes for you.
Let's try it. Let's give him a lacrosse ball, see if he can fill 30 minutes. Fraser, you're next. Thanks for tuning in. It's our first episode back. We're just getting started. What the fuck do I usually say?
See you at the next home game. See you at... Well, I guess if it's out before Saturday, see you on Saturday.
I ain't going to that.
Hey, so we'll see some of you on Saturday.
We'll catch you guys in the fuck, I don't know, in the near future. If we're like... Well, if nothing else, we have a ton of votes.
See you lacrosse season's here. Congrats to us.
Congrats to us.
We made it.
We'll catch you soon. Until then, We're out.